Welcome back to Canada's Blonde Moment. Welcome back, listeners, to another gripping episode of Canada's Blonde Moment. I'm your host, TJ, and today we embark on a deep dive into the life of Nichol Kessinger, the woman whose involvement with Chris Watts has left many questioning her role in the tragic events of August 2018. Buckle up because this episode is packed with details that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Nichol Kessinger was born on February 15th, 1989, in Colorado. Not much is publicly known about her early life or family background, as she has kept these details very private. However, it's known that she attended Colorado State University, where she actually earned a degree in environmental engineering. This educational background led her to a position um, where Chris Watts had worked, an oil and gas company, and there she was an operator. In 2018, Nichol actually met Chris Watts at work in June. So, Chris, a married man with two young daughters, was involved in an affair that would soon spiral into a nightmare. So, Nichol later claimed that Chris told her his divorce has been finalized and that he was in the process of finding a new place for himself and his daughters. She described him as soft spoken and a good listener. Now, their relationship progressed quickly, with the two spending significant time together in July and early August. However, Nichol was unaware that Chris was still married to Shanann Watts, who was pregnant with their third child at the time. It was a son named Nico. Um, August 13th, 2018. That began like any other day would, but soon became a day of horror. That morning, Nichol's phone records indicate a 1 minute call from Chris. And then right after that, it went into over an hour minute call with Chris, and that was at 4 a.m. Now, this call is particularly significant because later that day, Chris murdered his wife and two daughters. Additionally, at 6:16 a.m., Nichol's phone pinged a tower in Frederick, Colorado, near the Watts family home. This proximity at such a critical time raises questions about her involvement and knowledge of the events unfolding. So, I just want to let you know that Nichol lived 25 minutes from the Watts home. There's no reason that her phone should ping at 6:16 a.m. Now, after the murders, Nichol continued her relationship with Chris even after his arrest. She received text messages from him, including one where he claimed, "I didn't hurt my family." Now, in the aftermath, investigators uncovered that Nichol had actually deleted messages and conducted internet searches such as, "Can cops trace text messages?" and "Will a man you're having an affair with leave his wife?" So if she actually thought that she was the main girlfriend and he wasn't married anymore, why is she Googling just, you know, 2 weeks prior to these murders happening? Things like that, right? She wouldn't. Now, during the investigation, Nichol was interviewed by the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. She claimed to have been aware of Chris's intentions and expressed shock upon learning of the murders. However, her actions, including deleting messages and conducting suspicious internet searches, painted a different picture altogether. Despite these red flags, there was no concrete evidence linking Nichol directly to the murders. She was never charged and has maintained a low profile since the incident. So I'm just going to play these videos here for you.
So in those 6 years, though, they had two children.
Yep.
And you said earlier you did not know she was pregnant until reading the newspaper.
Yep.
So That never came up in any conversation. There was no indications that that was going on.
None.
He never hinted to anything like
Nothing.
that. As far as you knew, um, he was just leaving her. He had two children, and that was the final take on that.
Yes, I think I know why he lied to me. He lied to me because if I'd have known that he had a child on the way, I'd have never wasted my time with him in the first place. Like none of this would ever even occur if he would have just told me the truth.
So, do you think if he found out that if let's say this week you guys were to go look at some apartments, and this is hypothetical, but um, you've never found out that his wife was pregnant, would would that have changed anything? Like you just said, if I knew his wife was pregnant, I wouldn't be in this picture. So if his wife was not pregnant, and forgive me, but if he takes her out of the picture, you're never going to know that she was pregnant, right?
What do you mean takes her out of the picture? Like
If he murdered her, she's out of the picture. You're never going to know if she was pregnant. If he can get away with murder, you're not going to. I got divorced from my wife. You say, do you understand what I'm saying here? If she's gone,
but this
Don't lead,
hypothetically,
please.
yeah,
Don't lead on.
hypothetically, if she,
Okay.
you understand where I'm going. If
Right,
you
but
didn't know,
You're leading into
Right.
questions that are nothing with your.
if you didn't know though
Wait, Nick,
that she was there,
did you hear what I said?
I'm following you. I just want her to answer a question that relates to. She said something that's important.
Okay, now we've seen those. Now, in the years following the murders, Nicole reportedly applied to change her name, seeking to distance herself from being associated with the case. She has not been seen publicly or heard from since giving evidence in Watt's case, leading to speculation about her current whereabouts and activities. Now, the public's perception of Nicole remains largely negative, with many viewing her as being complicit in the murders. Discussions on platforms like Reddit question her knowledge of Chris's plans, suggesting that she may have been more involved than she let on. Now, you have to remember the wee hours of the morning before Chris did it, I mean, they were back and forth on the phone, right? And she deleted all of the call histories. And then after the murders, the night after, again, they were on the phone back and forth. Some for like 8 minutes, some for half an hour, some for 1 minute. Just very weird. Missed calls, return calls. But before the police got her phone records, she claimed she hadn't spoken to Chris. Oops, I had. She had claimed she'd only been to the Watts family home one time. Well, then when they were pulling her records again, it came out, okay, no, I've been there 2 times. Then throughout an interview, she admitted she had been there 3 times. So she hasn't been very forthcoming and honest with the police. Now, Nicole Kessinger's involvement with Chris, it remains a topic of intrigue and controversy. While some believe she was an innocent, party caught in a tragic situation, others argue that her actions suggested deeper complicity. Now, the truth will never be fully known, but the questions surrounding her role continue to captivate the public's imagination. So, I don't know what you guys think, but there's a lot of evidence. I'm sure you've done, looked into these deep dives and stuff, but, apparently Chris has called her a Jezebel, which, if you look that up, I mean, it's not a compliment for any woman, evil, mean, not a good thing. Uh, some insinuating that, she had a lot to do with it, gave him an ultimatum of either the kids go or I go, right? And he spoke to, some other guys that were in the cell next to him, and they've come out. There was one guy that, they were going to write a book together that came out and admitted things to Chris. Chris also was receiving letters from women that he thought were Nicole, but using a different alias name to send the letters in. So he said that he's still in love with her, and then, he found God, and he wrote, letters like to God, so getting it out there, that just didn't paint a very good picture of Nicole. But the fact that her phone pinged in Frederick, Colorado at 6 in the morning on the day of the murders, I'm curious why it is that the police never held her, right? I mean, what was she doing there at that hour? And from her phone records, for like up to 6 months after the murders, her phone not once ever pinged in Frederick, Colorado. So why was she there that morning? I mean, she lives 25 minutes away, right? When she spoke with Chris the night before, it pinged off of, a cell tower closer to her house. And neighbors said that those wee hours of the morning, they saw a gray truck that looked very similar to Nicole Kessinger's truck. In my eyes, Nicole Kessinger, my opinion only, you guys can have your own opinions, but she hasn't come forward. She hasn't spoken to the press. She hasn't spoken to anyone. She hasn't tried to clear her name. And somebody who's innocent would definitely try to clear their names. They're not going to go and live like a hermit, change their name, and not live because they were dating a married man. I mean, who hides from dating a married man? No one. Now, I've never been in her position, so it's just I know that I myself would not go into hiding and change my name and disappear, right? I would feel very bad for the victims, and I know that I also wouldn't want to contact Chris, but in one of her letters that she wrote to him, she said, "We need to talk. We need to clear this up." And this was just shortly after his arrest. So I don't know. If I found out that the guy that I was having an affair with murdered his wife and his daughters, and pregnant wife at that, I don't think I'd be sending him a letter in jail. I don't think I'd need any clarification. But I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. I've got some more videos here I'm going to show, but yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments. I'm going to dig deeper even into this. I am really trying to find her and her identity. So if you want more information or you want to see what she's up to now, I mean, some say she's moved back to Colorado under a different name. I'm really going to search and look into that, but you can always subscribe to make sure that you don't miss any of the updates, okay? All right. Thanks for watching Canada's Blonde Moment. That was Canada's Blonde Moment, and I am out.